Good morning, KMA tribe, friends, family, uh, team, all you awesome people that are watching this message today. As we get ready to move into 2024 and make this the best year ever, I have three things I want to talk to you about tonight. The first is a 0 week. I'll explain what that means a little bit quick about that. And the second one is actually a video that I made last year at this time. I watched it this morning and ironically, it was me listening to myself, and it was really good. And I say ironically because of the relevance of that, uh, what I just said, to what I said in that message back then. You have to hear it. So if you haven't heard it yet, I actually put it on number 2 in these notes here, show notes, whatever, down below this. You'll see the link to that video I made last year, which is about shutting up certain voices. But there's you'll see. And then number 3 is really today's message. Because honestly, I was sitting this morning and the question I asked was, that was a really good video last year, and we really did all those things, and we really did make it the best year ever. What am I going to do this year? What am I going to share this year that I'll be able to say the same things about next year? That hey, we really did make it the best year ever, and that thing was really helpful. Well, I was asking that question, and God, infinite intelligence, downloaded this acronym to me this morning that I'll be sharing in the dojo all next week, but I'll be sharing with you here today as well. So number 1, 0 week, what is it? Going back to my military days, we very often in infantry school and airborne school would have something called a 0 week, and 0 week was just like, hey, you're waiting to get started, but while you're waiting, you're preparing. You're doing things to make sure that when 1 week starts, when the first week starts, you're going 100 miles an hour, and you're making it happen. And so we keep 0 week traditions with the things we do around here. Certainly this week has been 0 week in preparation for 2024. I'm grateful to Miss Ruth and Sensei Ali that are out there right now, and all the rest of the team, Miss Barbara and Sensei Thomas and Sensei John, and just all the people that have been a part of preparing for us to be able to make 2024 the best year ever for our students, our tribe. So that's 0 week, and the relevance. The reason I wanted to share it with you is because there's still a little time left. If you haven't done anything to prepare for 24 yet, don't wait till 24. Hopefully today's message and the one I did last year will really be useful to you, which brings me to that second one. What I spoke about in the message, and again, it's linked here. You can hear the whole thing, but it was called "Shut Up to Get Attention," and it was about shutting up all the negative voices, your own and the external ones. It was about creating the reality you want instead of listening to people that are going to, always feed you doom and gloom. The fact of the matter is, I forgot that there were people. I only remembered listening to myself this morning that there were people last year saying 23 was going to be the worst year ever. And listen, I think that if that was the mindset that you entered 23 with, then that could have been true. Or you could have gone in with the mindset that 24 was going to be the best year ever, and you were going to make it so. And then hopefully you did. I know that we did for KMMA, and in many areas I did in my own personal life. And look, it doesn't mean I hit all my goals. In fact, a running joke last week, we did the goal setting workshop with my whole team. I think it was last Friday before we closed, and it was funny because Sensei Thomas kept looking at all the stats and at everything, and we were talking, and he's like 80%, 80%, 80%. So also we hit about 80%. And I got to tell you, 80%, maybe that's not an A score in some circles, but let me tell you something. It's 80% better than if we hadn't set and acted upon the goals. Which brings me to the real point of this message: rise up in 2024. So let me share this acronym with you, and we'll talk a little bit about it. And I hope that it's incredibly useful for you, because I got me fired up this morning. So rise up, the R stands for review. I was talking to Tony Robbins recently, and he told me that a map is only useful if you know where you want to go. And here's the part relevant to this first R. If you know where you want to go and you're honest about where you're at. So the R review is about the analysis I just talked about. It's about, okay, how far did I get on last year's goals? But it's also just as much or even more about just, okay, here's where I'm at in this particular thing. What is a goal that would be, you know, scary and audacious, like it's a stretch goal, but that I can still believe in the direction that I want to go, right? So it's about reviewing where you're at and where you want to go, how you did in the last year. You know, in your review, you should review in all the areas of your life that are important to you, and you should review. These are the things that went great. These are the wins. These are the things that didn't go as planned or just didn't go well. And then you get to continue on and say, okay, and this is where I want to go from there, right? The I stands for inspire. And first and foremost, you got to inspire yourself. You have to inspire yourself that these things that you're going to call your goals are important enough to you, that your why is big enough that you're actually going to do it. And then listen, if you're a parent, you got to inspire your kids. And if you're a leader, you got to inspire your team. In short, you have to be the person. If you're going to be the leader, you have to be the person that's going to inspire all the other people that have to work with you to make 2024 the best year ever. And then there's the S. The S is the actual setting of the goals. And I like to say that we should always set WIGs, wildly important goals. For many, many years before, I used to say BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. But I agreed with whoever I learned the WIG acronym from that, it doesn't capture the most important element of a goal, that it's wildly important to you. So what are the WIGs that will change your life for the better, personally, professionally, financially, in every important area of your life? What are the WIGs? What are the goals? You gotta review where you've been and where you're at. You have to inspire yourself and others. And then you have to set wildly important goals in every important goal pathway of your life. So like just within personal, right? Like there's I said personal, professional, financial, but those are three big buckets. And then within the buckets in personal, you have physically and mentally and spiritually and relationally, right? Like there's lots of important things, but you got to decide what are the things that are most important to me. By the way, if you've never used a tool called the Wheel of Life, you can very easily just look that up and you'll see a bunch of different people have done the Wheel of Life. But the Wheel of Life is a way of assessing, your life. And then, the real purpose of it is supposed to be that it's, that's round and it's balanced and there is some usefulness in that. You have to determine what are the most important areas for you, though, to set your WIGs. But it will help you think about all the different areas of your life that may be important to you. And then the E is more often than not look, it's true that a lot of people don't even set real goals. And what I mean is like everybody's going to do New Year's resolutions these years, but we know that the very term has taken on an almost comical, when New Year's resolutions, people don't take that idea seriously, but goal setters set goals and are serious about that. And I'm just assuming by the very fact that you're even here with me and listening to this, that you're one of those. This next thing is the important thing. It comes from our black belt superpower. Well, actually, it comes from all of them, but certainly focus and discipline. Those two black belt superpowers that I write about in my book that I happen to prop up there. And that is honestly what we teach in our program at Krav Maga Martial Arts. You need the discipline for what I'm about to say. Even if you've done the review, and even if you're inspired, and even if you've set wildly important goals, I like to set at least 3 personal and 3 professional, by the way, every year. But then you have to execute. And when I say execute, I mean we have to actually act upon our goals daily, weekly, monthly. We have to do the rest of the process daily, weekly, monthly, right? So that, like one of my mentors once said, look, it's okay to have a bad day, don't have a bad week. And if you have a bad week, don't have a bad month. And of course, the point of the thing is that you have to execute and you have to measure and you have to be deliberate, because either you're happening to life and you are moving things in the direction you want them to go, or life is happening to you. So listen, when you say, will 2024 be my best year ever, don't worry about what the talking heads said. Don't listen to what the critics have to say. And certainly don't listen to any negative voices in your own mind. Instead, be deliberate about your goals and about the execution of them on a daily basis. That's how it happens, by the way. You have to, in the execution, you gotta keep sight upon it. You gotta measure it. You gotta take massive action daily. You have to develop habits, healthy habits that move you in the direction of your goals. All these things, and then the UP is part of the acronym too. And listen to me, my people. The U is the most important part of the whole thing, because ultimately it's up to you. It's up to you for you. It's up to me for me. And listen, it's very important that we're in the right tribe of like-minded people that are going to encourage and inspire us and help us accomplish our goals. And certainly if we have teams of people to help us accomplish our goals, that's all really important too. But ultimately it's up to you. And listen, as pertains to goals themselves, the late great Jim Rohn always said, don't pursue the goal for what you will achieve, but pursue it for who you will become. And listen, I'm here to tell you, I was talking to Barbara this morning, who of course has been on this journey and evolution with me for many years, and talking about something. And I said, yeah, but we weren't, I said, we weren't where we're at then, talking about this thing in the past. And then I thought about it and I realized we weren't who we are then. See, the most important part of goal setting and goal getting is who you become. So don't forget in your goal setting to actually include goals that help you become the person that you need to become to achieve the goals. And then listen, it's your purpose, your plan, your preparedness. All of those things are what will help you make 2024 your best year ever. And listen, I am just proud and grateful to be on that journey with you. Prepare to live, empower to lead. See you next year.